Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, man. No, appreciate the opportunity, Joe. Yeah, it's been an interesting sort of journey to get to where I am today in terms of setting up this little movement. I was a
Mm.
project called Digital Discipline, and I guess it was born out of my own addiction for, we're talking 7, almost 8 years worth of just being just attached to technology, really, or social media in particular.
Yep.
And for the longest time, it was just something that I had normalized, just being on my phone predominantly for hours in a day, man. And it was I thought it was normal. I was just fascinated by the phone that I had, that I could do all of these cool things. I grew up with had a desktop computer and took ages to load. And like, I remember we had a printer as well that just would like when you'd print it, just, the ones like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like line by
everything was,
line. Yeah.
yeah, man. So it was, yeah, I grew up in that era, man. I'm 34 now. So when you do get a piece of technology, or these devices, and you remember what it was like to do dial up internet, you're just fascinated by how quickly you can get information, the things that you can access,
Yep.
and you just all of this information is just available to you. And so, yeah, man. So I took that and just ran with it, really, with no real bounds, no real standards, no real concept of how much is too much, kind of thing. And so I was clocking up so much time on it. I was just oblivious to what I was starting to do within my life, man.
Yep.
And I'm at a place now where I can really, pinpoint certain parts of my life where it started to, make some negative impacts. And so,
Yep.
yeah, I mean that was the nature of being online pretty much the whole day. And so, yeah, I guess some learnings from being so consumed online was that, yeah, man, like a lot of people know already. There's a massive self-esteem plug that you do get from being on social media. I think naturally everybody wants to feel like they belong, and they want to feel needed. They want to feel validated. I think the issue these days, and probably more so our youth as well, but even growing adults, that it's not enough to be validated anymore by a few, a handful of people.
Yep.
We want 100 likes. We want 50 comments. We want to feel, and you get a little taste of it, like I did, and it's an addiction, man. It's these
Absolutely.
endorphins that trigger the reward chemicals in your brain. And so it does feel good to post stuff up about yourself, or about you being an awesome dad, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
um, but what I've noticed in unpacking all of this on my end is the intent. I think, I'm not stopping anybody from posting anything, or
Mm, mm,
the
mm.
volume that they post, but is it to build your self-esteem? If it's yes, then I think we might need to find some things in the real world to build your character, to build your persona, because I feel and I fear that a lot of people have put all their self-esteem chips into social media. So if one of their posts doesn't hit off like they thought it would, you start feeling shit about yourself. Oh, only 7 people liked it, and I posted it yesterday.
Yep.
When the other post that you did last week had 70 likes. It's funny, we do all these counting and roll
For sure.
calls, all of this stuff, man. And so, yeah, man, that was a little bit how it all started, and I've had some massive learnings, but those are probably one or two of the learnings that I've had, in terms of the first part of my journey
Your
around
journey.
understanding
Yeah.
my relationship with social media.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you so much. I feel like um, obviously I've had my own little struggles with social media and um, that addiction side to it, that spending so much time on it. And one of the big things I wanted to ask you and kind of get some kind of feedback and kind of ideas about is like the different styles of addiction or the different types. And I guess, yeah, part of the reason is of having this conversation was like for me to in part share my type or my style of addiction,
Mm,
because I feel like it slightly differs um, from the type that you were talking about in terms of self-esteem and validation and that need for some people in order to post in order to get that back or to get it in the first place. I feel like yeah, my type is a little bit different. I definitely through my music um, posted things and was definitely looking out for likes and shares and all that kind of stuff.
mm,
And I've been doing music kind of videos on YouTube since like 2008. And so for sure that was definitely a part of my addiction. And I think about 2 years ago I just stopped pretty much altogether. Um, before I think it was just before my son was born, like different parts of my life became more important, and I just stopped doing music or posting music online.
mm,
But I think before that and from that point onwards, um, I was still spending enormous amounts of time on my phone, and with the wonder of screen time app on Apple, I was actually becoming more aware of it. But the time that I was spending was just like literally just in that spiral of videos that kind of you can kind of scroll through and continue to scroll through forever and ever and ever. And so I wasn't really using social media for kind of affirmation or self-esteem
mm,
reasons. I was literally just stuck. I would open my phone constantly, however many times throughout the day, and I get stuck in that just like rolling scroll of relevant material um, that Facebook and YouTube and whatever else other app can feed you. And so I guess yeah, I was super keen. I don't know if I've, I don't know if you've kind of or if I've heard you talk about that side of things.
mm.
And I'm super keen to hear your thoughts on it. Like, what is that, and why do we do that? And I guess like um, yeah, eventually maybe later on, like we can talk about things I've done and things that you think we people can do to um, break those cycles. Eh?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, man. Because same, I did that too. I know I explained about the whole self-esteem thing, but that was part of it as well. Um, I think like other addictions, man, it's a form of escapism, and what it is, we try and either suppress feelings or whatever. But I think in what you're talking about, it's not necessarily that there's too much emotion attached to it, but it's like lining up at the supermarket and there's maybe two or three people in front of you. Like there's no real reason why you would need to pull out your phone, but we in those moments of just waiting for like 20 seconds, or there's an awkward one where you turn up to let's say a rugby game, or and two of your friends, and there's only three and they're already talking. You kind of just like pull out your phone for no reason. It's a really good distraction
Yep.
from reality. I know the times when I've been really conscious and was really trying to pull myself away from it was just understanding that it's there's actually really um good character building exercises when you don't pull out your phone. Like it just speaks volumes of your discipline, because if you're feeling like you have to pull it out all the time, regardless of if there's any, emotional attachment to it, it still shows you that you can't leave this thing alone. Like, what's wrong with standing in the supermarket line for a minute, maybe just having a look around? I
Yeah,
think people are
exactly.
too. I don't know if people are afraid, but we've just gotten into this not so good habit of just checking it. I done a workshop last week,
Hmm.
and I had asked who on their way to that workshop had checked their phone while driving.
Mm.
I think about half of them put their hand up, and a lot of it would have been just waiting at the red light for 20 seconds. We just can't seem to put this thing down, and so the question then is, it becomes, what is it that is so attractive about picking up my phone? Because you should be concentrating on the road, and there's nothing wrong with putting two hands on the steering wheel and just sitting there. Like,
Mm.
got music on, there's no reason. Like, we have music on from our phone, but we still go through and check social media on our phone. It's
At
the
the same
questions
time.
that I usually ask is, what is it that's so important that you need to check your phone on a busy intersection?
Mm.
What is it that you're trying to look for in the supermarket aisle on your phone? Um, and a lot of the time, people can't answer that question. They don't know what they're looking for. There isn't anything specific. It's just a time filler. And as to if it's good or bad, I think it's dependent on the person. But I'd like to think that in an addictive sense, it, yeah, it does display characteristics of an individual that just can't leave this particular thing alone, bro. So I can't put my finger on, this is what it is. But those sorts of urges, and tendencies, regardless of if they're little and if they impact you or not on a
Mm.
big scheme, they still do speak volumes of your character and your discipline, if that makes sense, bro. So
Yeah,
it's not
absolutely.
anything massive, like, let's say we start talking about pornography, but it still does show you, you know that you just can't not put your hand in your pocket and grab that phone. Like,
Yep.
what is it about it? So yeah, man, I don't have the answer to that, but it is a good observation, man. And the thing is, I don't think people are aware of those those types of urges that they have to just whip out their phone for no reason.
For no reason.
A
Yeah.
lot of it, even for me, was just to pretend like I was busy or to pretend I was important. But I know damn well there's nothing on there. There's no messages. No one's called me. There's probably no notifications, but I still pull it out as if I'm running a country or something.
Yep.
There's nothing on there for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
bro.
Like, I think when I was writing, when I began writing the song, I guess those times you're talking about is what I was really honing in on. I was really thinking about as I wrote it, because they're so, I don't know what the word is, like insidious. They're things you're not conscious of, but they just happen. And I guess when I was writing, initially there was no words, no nothing. There was just a melody and an idea. And the idea really was about addiction. And it just so happens that, like, I don't really have any other addictions, to be honest. I have stayed away from every other type of addictive substance, because I guess deep down I know for sure, well, not for sure, but I know myself well enough that if I did try anything like smoking or anything else, I probably would get addicted. Um, and so yeah, I guess
Mm,
that's why the song came out as a song about, phone addiction, because I was aware that it was definitely a thing. And
mm,
I think um, I know for sure. I know that, like, it's not really considered a thing, or that it's perhaps ultimately harmful, but I think it's something for us to keep an eye on, because phones aren't going anywhere, and the technology is only going to get more sophisticated and probably more addictive over time. And I think it's just something that I was mulling over for sure. Um, when I wrote the song, my son was like one, and I had at that point, been looking after him as a pretty much like a stay-at-home dad for like 6 months. And at that point, I thought, oh, no, I'm doing pretty well. I didn't really use my phone at all within those first 6 months because like babies are pretty captivating. Like um,
Mm,
they kind of take up all your time without any other device or anything. They're just,
mm,
they're kind of, yeah, they're amazing. And so at that point, I was like, I think I'm doing all right. And I guess perhaps deep down, I was trying to use the writing of the song to kind of keep me on the straight and narrow, if that makes sense.
yeah,
For to kind of keep that at bay and keep it on the top of my mind. Um, but I can say for sure, like in the year and a half that's passed since then, like I definitely, it's so weird to talk about, but like I had some relapses. Like I had some weeks here and there where, especially if I'm tired, I kind of the phone, some maybe provides comfort in some way. Like those endorphins you're talking about, maybe they kick in, um, which is seems so counterintuitive that when you're tired, you would look at your phone of all things. That probably makes your eyes hurt a bit more, and like doesn't really make sense at all. Instead of looking at my phone, I could have just gone to sleep in
yeah.
in those times. But yeah, for sure, I think that's something that I've noticed, anyways. Yeah.
You're right, man. I think the good thing, because I think we all struggle, and even myself, I think I'm way more disciplined than a couple of years ago. But like you were saying, man, there are moments in the day um, where you probably run out of things to do, or it's you're at the end of the day and it's it's time to wind down.
Mm.
See, those are moments where I do jump on social media because I've done all my work, my sons are asleep,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think the issue is knowing when to pull yourself away from it.
Yep.
Because I'll give you this example, man. I set up a Facebook page for my uncle who wanted to keep connected with my mom and other aunties and uncles. But as soon as I set up his Facebook page and maybe added a few of my uncles and aunties and my mom
Mm-hmm.
on his timeline, there were all there was I wanted to see, because this was about a year and a half ago, and this was when I was forming digital discipline.
Mm.
I was scrolling down his timeline. I was like, there shouldn't be anything on here because we haven't liked anything. But man, I scrolled for like a minute and it just wouldn't end. So they already had suggested videos, people you might want to be connected with.
Right.
So even from someone who just went on, I just signed them up just then. It
Mm.
was only about a few minutes old. It's a bottomless pit, bro. Like you cannot get to the end
Yeah,
of,
absolutely.
of scrolling, and that's the challenge for anybody is knowing when to put it away, because
Yeah.
you can go down those binge scrolling times and just
Yeah. Yeah. Rabbit holes.
end up 2 hours of just watching videos and scrolling through stuff. And so I think I have a better gauge, and I'm not saying I'm perfect or the guru of it, but I think once I get the impression, you know, you've probably seen everything you wanted to see. There isn't anything else.
Yep.
I just put it down, like, and I just go to sleep.
Yeah, for sure.
And same with Instagram. Like on my personal page, I'm probably only connected to like maybe 200 people,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't watch everybody's stories. Like I'll watch like maybe cousins I'm really close with, who are probably the first two, and then I'll scroll along to see who's, because I'm not gonna sit there and watch everybody's stories, man. Like
Yep.
I already know what that feels like. So I just scroll along, see who's, if, oh, okay, so they got a story today, and I'll click, or if it's an artist or a group that I follow, I'll have a little look. But I'm not gonna sit there and watch everybody's stories. It's just gonna, that's half an hour in itself. And when I'm done watching it, if you refresh that thing, a whole line of other stories that are gonna pop up as well. So
Absolutely.
I just know when to stop. So I'm not saying I don't, but I just I just can't sit there and just waste my time
Yep.
for hours on end, like I've done in the past.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think yeah, I know that moment where you get maybe two, probably only three videos, and then you're like, oh, actually, this is not really related to what I was actually interested in or what I had
Mm,
started looking at. And yeah, yeah, I think since like listening to the podcast, and even before that, starting to be a bit more mindful of my
mm,
screen time and what I'm doing on my devices, all of them. Um, yeah, it's definitely
mm.
something I'm definitely wary of,
I
finding
think,
myself in a place where I didn't actually want to be, or
yeah, man.
just looking at stuff like you said that's wasting my time.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Mm.
I guess just to add on to that point about being, your point about being aware, man. I think the biggest thing that I fear for myself and possibly everybody on our generation who just were the ones that kind of didn't grow up with phones, but have been accustomed to it in the last 10 years is the children that we're having. You mentioned you have is that a son?
Yeah, my son, he's two now.
Cool. And so I got two boys as well, and so I guess my biggest fear is that just like we've heard stories, horror stories of someone who's watched their father drink their whole life or smoke or just have these addictive things, and they become sort of intergenerational.
Yep.
I drink because my dad drinks, kind of thing. And it's not.
Mm.
I'm not saying it's to that scale, but I'm really mindful about how many times my sons see me on my phone because then I'm normalizing it.
Yep.
I'm normalizing that every time they're looking at me. If you can see it from their eyes,
Yeah, for sure.
they look at their dad all the time, and he's not looking at them. He's looking at this thing in his hand.
Mm.
That's going to be something that's going to be ingrained and normal in their mind. So when they grow up and they get a hold of one of these things, and it's time for them to be a father,
Yep.
they only got one template to go off, and that's the one that you gave, kind of thing.
Yeah,
And so
absolutely.
I'm mindful as and if I am on my phone around them, I let them know what I'm doing. I said, look, I just need to text my friend that I'm on my way in the next half an hour,
Mm.
or
Mm.
I'm just checking this email because it's quite urgent and I need to reply right now. So I let them know, because if I don't, and they get to the time when they have a phone, they'll have this assumption that I was just scrolling through nothing. But at
Absolutely.
least now I'm informing them. Look, son, I just need to check, what time Pizza Hut closes, so that yada yada yada. So that, oh yeah, okay. So my dad's only on the phone if there's something urgent or important that he needs to check. It's not just like
Mm.
whatever.
Yeah, the
So
phone
I
has a
think I think
purpose.
that's important too, so that they're not getting this misconception about what my dad's doing on his phone for the last 2 minutes. It's no, he's told me that he needs to do this quick email or search something real quick because he's had this thing pop up in his head. Cool. That I guess that's what a phone is for. A device is
Mm.
to do those urgent things. Yeah, bro. So I'm just,
Yeah,
yeah.
man,
That's
that's
how I
awesome.
see it, man.
I think the cool thing, especially with you having older children, is it definitely I don't know. For me, it would create some kind of accountability. Um, you're not. I guess you're not isolated with your phone. It's not just you and your phone. It's you are kind of creating that space for your children to be like, ah, you finished making that message, or
Mm,
hey,
mm,
how's uncle going? Like,
yeah.
yeah, I had my first taste of it literally just yesterday, to be honest. And it kind of hurt, to be honest. It was like I picked up my phone to like my family message group, and I'm just scrolling through the photos that people sent through, and then for the first time ever, my son was like, "I see, I see." I was like, "Oh, no,
Mm,
no, you don't need to see." Like then I was like, I literally just looked at my phone. I just like chucked it away in my living room, and I was just like, bro, I need to like not. This was just him having lunch, and I had just had it at the table. I was just sitting there having my lunch too, and I just thought, man, yeah, he's seen me like this whole time, and now that he can speak, he's letting me know that he wants to see what's on my phone as well, and I think that's that's something that I'll kind of hopefully use, you know, to help me to stay off my phone essentially, and really only use it like you're saying, when I really need to.
mm,
Um,
mm.
because you know those messages can be seen later. I can look at my Instagram later. I can look at my Facebook later. It's like um, that's definitely, I guess, one of my big goals behind releasing the song and kind of having this discussion is like trying to help myself really, and in the process, um, perhaps helping some other people out as well if they're, you know, open to it.
That's cool, man. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's really good, man. Cool.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I think, yeah, I guess that's kind of where I'm at, and I think I'd love to hear your thoughts on, like, apart from throwing my phone across the room, hear your thoughts about like just kind of things we can do and things we can like think about on a daily basis to just help us um, kind of stay away from our devices, or just like create this, you know, discipline that you're talking about. Because I think for sure I've been trying to think of things myself, and I've realized that I guess I don't really have that much discipline. I've tried lots of different things, but the will of my mind is pretty strong to get to that device. Um,
Mm.
and so, yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts on like what we could do to just make some baby steps at least.
Yeah, yeah. It's such a it's an interesting one, eh? Because um, there was that documentary that came out called The Social Dilemma,
Mm,
and before that, I was already sort of in the understanding that there's, you know, thousands of software app social media engineers that are out there, um, trying to see how they can hold your attention and keep your attention.
yeah,
So I'm not saying that, you know, that it's an easy thing to do, because it's you versus, you know, a thousand engineers that are that are trying to keep you there, and that's their job. And so I guess one of the it's a journey, man. I think it's understanding what is it that you're actually looking for,
mm,
and what is it that you're either trying to escape from, or what is it that that is so attractive. I think when you go through these sorts of like thought provoking questions, and really are honest with yourself, that maybe I'm posting up stories and posts that reflect the character that's not me, you know, and only you would know that, then
yeah, yeah,
that's why I'm drawn to social medias, because of the self-esteem boost that I get every time I chuck up you know, a story of me being at this event, or me dressed up like this, or
mm,
me with the cool clothes, or me at the cool location. And if that's the intent, then yeah, those questions haven't been asked yet. If it's around the the little scrolling that we talked about, you know, the here and there, there's questions around that too. You know, what is it? Again, is similar questions. What is it that you're looking
mm,
for, or what is it that's what is it in your life that you can replace that with? Because as like you said earlier, man, um, as connected as we can be online, it's a place for isolation too. That's why a lot of our teenagers, you know, are connected to over 1,000 people, but still would coop up in their own room by themselves. So it's almost, you know, a real, um, just a real interesting paradox that we, you know, that we have these generations, and some of them are our age, you know, that would
mm,
want to be connected with thousands of people, but want to be connected with them just online, and I just want to be in my room. And so, I mean, there in some instances, I think, you know, we do need to be part of a digital community moving forward. But I think what's lacking, especially here in New Zealand, is the education around, um, you know, what those standards are. because what's acceptable in one household is not acceptable in the next one.
Mm.
And so in terms of like real practical stuff, um, I would not wake up to my phone. Like my phone is still my alarm, but as soon as I swipe the alarm off, I leave it. There's You cannot start your day by scrolling through anything. Like anything, man. I think the morning is quite an important time, and so as soon as I get up, I leave it. I make my bed, and for me, my schedule is I get to work straight away, and so I flip up my laptop and start working. Um, and my phone just stays there in the room for a good hour and a bit before I even want to check anything. The reason is I know, like yourself, man, I got an addictive personality, and so I need to keep these rules in place so that I don't become addicted. And like you, man, I haven't really struggled with any other thing besides my cell phone. And so knowing that, daily I need to make sure that that I'm setting some schedules around when I check this thing or not. And so when I'm driving, I don't check it. It's not something that I feel is safe. I've had too many close calls in my life where I'm trying to drive on the motorway and check my phone. I actually, a couple years ago, I got into an accident because I checked my phone. I rear-ended someone
Wow.
because I thought we were going on the motorway and they had braked for no real reason. And it wasn't a massive crash, but no, I rear-ended him. And the only reason why I did that was because I was on my phone. I was checking something on my phone. And so yeah, that's not an option anymore, especially when you have children. I can't be touching that thing. More importantly though is when you're around people, when you're around children, when you're in family events and all of that sort of stuff. Those are occasions where when conversations are going well, and then let's say the person you're talking to starts talking to someone else, the default, man, is just to check your phone. I used to do that infamously, man. Like you're talking to, or let's say you're talking to someone, and then someone new walks in and has something to say to this person. After about 5 seconds, and the conversation's not with you, you kind of just like pretend there's something on your phone, and those are those instances that really define or show you what your character's like. Can you stand there and engage in that conversation, or do you walk away? Why is the phone now the almost the polite way of kind of I'm here but I'm not here kind of thing?
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a weird one, man. Yeah. So yeah, I guess for the morning I wouldn't spend any time on my phone. Secondly, when driving, and then just being mindful when you're around children and family and friends that thing is not around. I understand when there's conversations that you need to be a part of. Let's say for family stuff, there's occasions, there's times now and then where you need to be part of a semi-urgent conversation on, and it's only on through Messenger, these group chats. I think those instances, it's totally fine. It's not, I'm not here trying to draw like an iron fist on it, but I think everybody has, like yourself, man, has a good level of awareness around what's appropriate and what's not in terms of timing and sort of cell phone etiquette that we do. It's just it's one of those addictions where the signs of it aren't as visible as being drunk or being high. So you being on your phone and checking your phone while you're with your kids or while your partner's trying to talk to you, not as obvious as those other ones, man. But the impact of it is, I think, just as worse.
Yeah.
Mentally, emotionally, and all the other sorts of soft stuff that the other addictions don't display, man. So yeah, those. I mean, not really a 1, 2, 3 step, but those are things that I'm mindful on a daily basis, man.
That's awesome, man. No, that's fantastic. I think the all the all those things you mentioned are like awesome, and I think I'm definitely in agreement with the morning thing. Um, And like I said before, I kind of know myself reasonably well, and I know that if my phone is right next to me in the morning, I will grab it. And at this point, anyways, like in my journey, I know I'll grab it, and so a lot of the time I leave it down here in my room and put it on charge, and like that kind of tells me, especially at night before I go upstairs and go to bed, like the act of like putting it on charge down here is like almost relief for me a little bit. I don't know if you know kind of
mm,
that feeling, but it's just like it's here now. I don't
mm,
have, like I don't have to stop myself. I don't have to think about this and that. I'm pretty lucky to have a son who wakes me up every morning, pretty much every morning,
mm,
and at a
mm,
mostly appropriate time. So I guess alarm wise, I'm pretty sorted. But um, at this point, I feel like just having, for me, it's like having distance between me and my phone is like something that really helps me out because I know that I get that feeling if it's in my pocket, my hand finds it, like without me even really wanting to look at anything on there, like we've been saying, it's like this thing that kind of um yeah, we kind of have to build discipline over time, if that makes sense. I
mhm,
don't really have too much trouble, I don't think, in social situations or outside of the home. I feel like most of my screen time is spent at home, and it's like what you're saying about young people and even people my age or our age, kind of living that life on on Facebook or whatever, but being pretty keen to just stay at home and be separate from all those people they're connected to.
mhm,
I definitely resonate with that because like I'm a reasonably introverted person most of the time. Most people will tell you kind of in conversation I speak quietly and appear to be reasonably shy, and I am most of the time, apart from the musical side of me. Um, and so, yeah, I guess the times I struggle are when I'm alone. And I definitely found that as well, like when I started looking after my boy, it wasn't a problem when he was with me in my arms, and I was looking after him and feeding him and doing all those wonderful things. It was when he went to sleep, and it was like during his nap times. Over time, I would like my mind, or I would tell myself that um, this is my time, and I need this break. And every time he went to sleep, initially it wasn't so bad. I would have lots of things to do. There's always cleaning and kind of house things that I could be doing, to improve our house and our situation. But I would for sure go into that default of like, oh, but this is my time and I need to relax, and I surely can just jump on my phone. But a lot of, sometimes it would be he goes to sleep, I go on my phone, and then he wakes up and I'm like, oh snap, he's been asleep for an hour, or he's been asleep for however
mm,
long. And I think
mm,
those are the times where I feel like um yeah, I definitely need to improve my discipline and like just kind of find things to do. And I think it's definitely gotten better over time, especially starting to release music and kind of have a newfound purpose um, for my time on computers and stuff. Like I'm mostly spending my time on those things, but I think that's definitely something that's plagued me in the past. Mm.
yeah, yeah. That's cool realization, man. And I think if everybody gets to that level of awareness, then you know, I think we'll be in a better place. And this is probably to yourself, and I need to remind myself too. But so there's I don't think there's any real perfect day where you can get it all right, maybe. And but I think in saying that too, if we're consciously doing all the right things during the day, then I think sometimes it's okay to not have a massive slip up, but if it goes for maybe 5-10 minutes too long, then
Yeah.
Just remember for next time, instead of it being oh crap, I really, feel bad about, being on my phone too much. I think the level of awareness will be a good indicator on when to put it down, and so I think there's sort of levels to it, and so I think I can tell from what you're saying that you got a good handle on it, and now and then it's it gets maybe half an hour too long, but I think in essence, man, compared to the people that I've worked with and the youth that I've worked with who um, I need to guide them through this whole awareness and consciousness about it. And I can see them start to really wake up to the fact that, oh shit, am I really on this for that amount of time? In your case, at least you are aware, and you are doing things to be proactive about it. And you've come a long way. So I mean, I give you props for that. And it can only get better. I mean, like we've already established, man. It's not going anywhere. It's how do we coexist with this thing, and how do we manage it appropriate to our own personal goals, and then how do we make it appropriate when we're around our family is I think important. What I find with working with the youth, it is a massive distractor. I've also talked to a lot of uni students, and a lot of them can point towards social media as being one of the huge contributors to either not achieving the way they want to achieve, or just being super distracted when they're supposed to be trying to chase their academic goals or any other sorts of goals. It's the level of concentration is very little when it, for some people. Like
Yep.
we're talking, you know, they feel like they need to reward themselves with screen time after writing one paragraph is kind of what I'm hearing. Like I've done a whole page. Okay, well I better pick up my phone and so concentration and discipline is totally out of whack when you're just not aware about these massive um, urges that some of our young people are having, and it's almost normal. Like I'm struggling with school. Well, tell me how much time you're on social media, and where is your phone when you're studying? Phone is usually right there next to the laptop. It's I don't know anybody that's that disciplined to see their phone light up, every 10, 15 minutes and not touch it. Like it's it's a massive distractor, man. So I think the next generation does need guidance. They do need education around it, and it's sort of the ethos of digital discipline is trying to raise that awareness, and they're looking for a big year next year. But I'm just a one man band at the moment and looking to sort of grow next year, but still very small in terms of the whole scale of even if I'm thinking just our Pacific people, I can't reach everybody. But I think I think what's good about starting this journey, and even for yourself, you got a cool story behind it as well. Is not that we all become digital discipline advocates, but I think through your own experience and your own story, you can start to effect change within outside of your family, and then now within your church, and start planting those little seeds with family and friends. I know when I first started and I started to have these realizations, and I started to get all the information and research, and I started talking to my sisters about it, and they were kind of weirded out because they thought it was normal. But one of my little sisters had raised her son just like I had on a device, man. And anytime you need to take the device away, oh man, you're in for a
Yeah.
fit.
Tantrums.
And yeah, so I think after talking to her a lot, not about her parenting, but just around the effects that devices have on kids, she managed to wean him off after a couple months, and now he's just like my boy's got no interest. Doesn't come asking for games on the phone or want to see an iPad, or
Mm.
they might watch a couple movies in the weekend, on TV, but there's no real desire to want to, be on any games or anything. So I mean, there's an allowance for it. I know we all grew up playing video games, but
For sure.
we couldn't play PS2 while driving in a car, or and I think when you see a lot of these younger toddlers, and man, I don't know what they're missing with having a phone in their hand. There's so much to see in a car ride, besides listening to the same ABC um, video clip that we keep playing for them. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, there's a bigger world than outside of that little phone that we keep giving our kids.
Yeah. Big time.
Watching the Wiggles and Daniel the Tiger and all of that. So like it's all very nice, but
Yeah.
there's we grew up in a time where we weren't entertained like that. So yeah, man.
Time and place. I
Yeah,
think, yeah, it's definitely what you're pointing to. It's like, for sure, I grew up on video games, and to be honest, when I look back, I probably grew up addicted to TV, or like that was the thing that would take up a lot of my time when I was growing up. But I think you can't take back in the day, you couldn't take the TV with you, you can't take the the PlayStation with you, and so it's confined to that one area of your life. And there's something that's kind of good about that because it creates moderation, I guess. It's like enforced moderation. Whereas, like you're saying, with our kids now, it's accessibility is so huge, and we can kind of just grab the thing out of our pockets, and there it is. And so I think, um, yeah, I think I'm sure you've already had this, had lots of experience talking to people about this and kind of having that, I don't know, that cringe that people feel because they're like, oh man, I'm doing that with my child. But I think a lot of the time people feel as though it's unavoidable, that you also give your child a device as just like kind of everyone else's. But I guess like us growing up without the devices, kind of proof that we can do it, and there are definitely benefits for it. Yeah,
100%, man. Totally agree with you.
yeah. I
Yeah,
think I think that for sure. I was talking to Gio on the podcast, and when we started talking about parenting, I kind of like tighten up straight away, because as soon as you start talking to people about what you do with or what they do with their children, it's a really sensitive topic, and um but it's one that we really need to like start knocking on the door. Just start like really having some honest conversations about,
yeah,
especially to do with devices, because they're such a integrated part of our lives. They're just everywhere, um, and it's kind of up to us to kind of decide what the rules and regulations are. Because yeah, like I heard on your podcast with them, it's like the government has no policies for these things yet, um, and it's up to us as parents to kind of create those things and make them normal. That there's time and place for Daniel Tiger, and there's obviously everywhere else there's no Daniel Tiger. There's no screen.
that's
Um,
right.
I'm a big Daniel Tiger fan, by the way, but it's like once a week, and it's very, yeah. I guess because of my own awareness of my own addiction, I've kind of definitely kept my son away from screens as much as possible. Um,
Yeah, 100%, man.
yeah,
I think, like you were saying, man, there's a fine balance, and some conversations I've had with parents around parenting seems to be this notion around making sure our kids are connected online, that they have good digital literacy, that they know their way around, you know, STEM topics, which are, I think, is science, technology, engineering. I don't know what the M
yeah,
is, but
engineering and maths.
engineering and maths,
Mm.
and there's a big push. Some schools have enforced that, not enforced, but part of their stationery is that they need, a Chromebook or a laptop or some sort of device, which I think is important. This is my take on it though, bro. Like, and it's not some sort of research based opinion, but what I think is Um, I think those technical skills to be on a laptop and navigate your way through that stuff, I think you can learn that really easy. Just like how we can pick up any PlayStation or Nintendo game back in the day.
Yeah.
You spend a couple hours on it, or days or a few weeks, you're already the best at it. That's what I think about technology. I think
Mm.
as complicated and complex as it is, I don't think it's that hard to, or I don't know, man. I'm probably like, I don't think it's that super hard to be an expert at it. When the time's appropriate. However, on the flip side, though, is when our kids are outside playing or playing with friends, it's not that easy to pick up how to communicate face to face, how to negotiate, how to empathize, how to really communicate your feelings, how to have risk assessment stuff. Where if I jump off this fence, like how am I going to land? And so all of that stuff, like swinging off stuff and doing crazy dumb shit that kids do, um, you can't learn that in front of a screen, nor can you learn proper human interaction and face-to-face skills. I think a lot of these soft skills are going to start to die out over the next couple of decades because we're so good and we're experts at typing things online. But as to can you communicate that same paragraph that you wrote in these messages and these posts, can you communicate that in real life? I'm not sure. Maybe, maybe not. I'd probably think probably not, because a lot of our youth, and I'm not throwing a blanket over them, but they are very expressive online. But as to holding a solid conversation, sometimes it's a struggle, and you have to think if you can express yourself online and can't do it in real life, to the same level, is that a problem? Bro, I don't know the answers, man. But I guess for my little family and for my boys, I'm going to just bank on them being outside and doing heaps of outdoor activities to gain a lot of self awareness of their physical self, emotional, and they get to play and talk and chat and have conversations where if they're sitting in front of watching YouTube clip after YouTube clip, um, I think I know which one I'd rather, which experience I'd rather them have, and so
Yeah.
I think we're fortunate because we know how to play, we know what it's like to do, crazy stuff outside. I think as the generations grow up, we might tend to have parents that want to shelter their kids and babysit their kids with devices because it's just more convenient, and I think we cotton ball a lot of our children because you know and there's layers to that. Is it because you want your kid to be digitally savvy, or am I just being a lazy ass dad for putting him in front of a Chromebook for the next 3 hours? Like, because it gets uncomfortable, like you're saying.
Yeah, for sure.
It gets really uncomfortable when you start to not critique, but just ask, why is your son playing Fortnite for this amount of time? Oh, it's because it's like it's teamwork. It's just like playing outside. I was like, no, it's not like playing outside. Don't tell me it's like playing out, but connected with their friends and you get to communicate with people around the world. I know, but far out. Like, what is he missing then? By playing on there and playing outside. I think it's a huge risk assessment, bro. You just
Yep.
whatever. As a parent, you just find out and you can kind of balance and do the equation on what's best and what's not, man. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's my
absolutely.
take on it.
I think when we start, I guess it's really interesting that you kind of brought up education and things like that because I know for sure a lot of people see devices as a I guess as essentially like a source of education, like you're saying, putting kids on ABCs and even Daniel Tiger to a certain extent, they see uh, technology as that source of education, that a thing that can teach their children things. I guess what we kind of forget is that we're the original, we're OG. We're supposed to be the OG kind of education right here. Like mom and dad auntie, uncle, whoever it is who's looking after these kids. Is, we're supposed to be that source. And I think, yeah, perhaps a lot of people out there, especially if they feel like, yeah, I guess a lot of people have kind of insecurities about their abilities to, take on that role, and I guess YouTube, and whatever else on the device, the games, educational games and things like that, people will use to fill that gap for them. I know for sure. I'm just speaking from like a teacher's perspective. That's probably something that I've encountered, and the parents that I've spoken to over time. Um,
mm,
I know for sure that's the thing, but I guess the big thing that I was thinking about when you were talking is like, um, it's like something that I really feel like every parent that I know, anyways, will be really longing for, um, regardless of whether they are the type of parent who does put their child on Chromebooks or whatever. I don't really think that, especially people of our generation who kind of got the best of both worlds, it seems, where when we were, very young, there was nothing, or not nothing, but very little technology, and we were, outside kids just run riot.
mm,
And then it was slowly, as we got, you know, um, until, I don't know about you, but like, 10 from 10 to 15, and 15 onwards, that's when, technology seemed to like really accelerate. And then it would have taken up a lot more of our time from then on. I know for sure that's what my childhood was like. I feel like, um, parents these days are really looking for that balance, but it's really hard to, um, first of all, even acknowledge that they don't have balance, um, and then second of all, like really, strive like you have with your kids, and your family's kids, to push for that balance, and to restrict and like, actually digitally discipline yourself and your family.
mm.
Yeah, like I know for sure that, people that I know, they want that, but
I know.
whether they have it or not is a whole other question, I guess. Man, that's
Mm,
really kind of one of my joys of having you on, and being able to share this with, my friends and family, where I guess, not that I don't have to have that conversation with them, but I'm essentially having this conversation with you, um, so that it's there, it's there for people
mm,
to consume. And if they do, great. If they don't, then that's just
mm,
how things work, Mm.
mm. No, that's awesome, man. No, I appreciate your time, eh? I think with a lot of cool movements and projects, do an awesome job raising awareness around it. Um, what I think is missing at times is the actual solutions and the daily practical solutions, like mental health. We hear, and it's nothing. Maybe I haven't come across it, but we keep bringing awareness to it, but I'm yet to come across a page or person who is actively helping me through. Okay, this is what you do. This is, it's always focused on the sob story and the negative aspects of it, to raise awareness, but not necessarily, future thinking and future proofing anything so that we don't ever come back to that place. I know it's important to raise awareness, um, but I think it's even more important to start being real proactive around, like you had asked, man, and I appreciate you asking around, what is it daily then that I do? What are some points in the day that I can be disciplined, and then also understanding, okay, what are my triggers? Where are the times where I pick up my phone the most? Um, is it at the supermarket? Is it when I'm, at my daughter's ballet, practice or something, or is it when I'm at church, or is it when I'm at, weddings and funerals, like I had? Is understanding where those points are, and then you build those plans around it. Like for some events, I've just left my phone in the car. Like as almost painful as that is, because I know everybody's going to whip out their phone when the bride and groom walk down the aisle. I almost think there's enough people capturing this moment that I can see it later on.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we tend to take photos, but if you really look, if you really think about it, are you really going to do anything with those photos? You're probably going to look at it once again. Plus, someone else has got them. So, why don't you save yourself looking at the moment through your screen to get a perfect photo and just not have it, and you can have all the glory of that experience without having to make sure the lighting and the angle and the whatever is perfect. Just not do it because there's 50 other people pointing their cameras over there. You can watch it later. Is how I think about it. So it's being aware, but also, okay, this is my proactive thing about this wedding I'm about to go to. I'm just going to leave my phone because this. I hope they don't get married again, but this is their time, and I'm gonna make sure I'm present and I'm enjoying it. And it's only 3 hours to be chill with my family,
Yeah.
have an awesome time, and I just I'm not gonna miss anything. I am if I'm gonna whip out this phone. So yeah, man, it's just awareness is the first part, but okay, what am I gonna do now?
Yeah. Action.
Do I leave my phone in the car when it's time to go take the boys to the park? Yeah, I'll leave it, kind of thing. And so yeah, man, um, yeah, those are some little cues and thoughts, man, and
Yeah.
hopefully it's
Absolutely.
been helpful to you and whoever watches it, man. It's an ongoing conversation, but I think it's a important one to have. And so yeah, man, just been appreciative of you having this conversation, but also more importantly is even writing a song about it, bro, is massive, man. So I hope that goes well, and you sent it, and I thought it was I thought it was amazing, bro. So good on you, man. Big props to you, and heaps of honor and gratefulness for you to put something like that together as a piece of art, man. And so yeah, man, just really thankful that you've wanted to connect and sort of be part of this message around devices and screen time and
Yep.
digital addiction. So yeah, man.
Thanks, man. Thank you so much. I mean, I just want to put in one little caveat, little thing about the taking photos and stuff. I started smiling straight away because I know for sure. Shout outs to all the stay-at-home dads and mums and all parents actually that take photos for their partner, whoever their partner is, because they can't see those moments.
Mm,
Um, I think that's one thing that I would advocate for is don't deprive your partner of those things.
mm,
Um, because yeah, I know how important that is for my wife. But yeah, thank you so much for for coming on and for your kind words about the song and stuff. I guess I just wrote down while you were talking about awareness and whether it leads to action and that kind of stuff. I think I'm pretty optimistic, and I feel like um the action really starts to happen over time. And I'm not saying that awareness is all we need to do for a long, long time, but I think even the fact that you exist and your digital discipline exists is a good sign that you're taking action, but those kind of dominoes are starting to fall, hopefully. And I guess I'd like to be a part of that as well. So yeah, I guess thanks for coming on as well. I guess we'll finish up there. I guess um, yeah, thanks for coming on and for anyone who watches, maybe tell people where they can find you, and then we out.
yeah, man. Um, Ironically, I'm on social media.
I know, right? I know, right?
Search, yeah, just digital discipline, Facebook and Instagram. Yeah, or the website is digitaldiscipline.co.nz. Find me there and got all my contact details on there. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for being on. Um, and yeah, good luck in the future, and I hope to catch up again sometime in the future as well.
Sure, man.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you so much.
Cheers, bro.